on Fox welcomes you to Texas Motor Speedway, north of Fort Worth. Seems like everything is bigger in Texas. Look at this qualifying day crowd. The seats and the suites are pretty well packed. And the campers, they started arriving more than a week ago. Seems like everybody's decked out in the colors of their favorite driver, waiting to see who can put it on the pole position today. Stars of Winston Cup Racing are here. It's front pole qualifying for Sunday's Samsung RadioShack 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Well, the circuit needed a week off leaving Bristol with bent fenders and hurt feelings. Of course.
Damn 31 wouldn't get out of the way.
And he tried to run me into pit wall, so I hit him back.
Because they don't pay attention, they don't know what he's doing.
One thing you can't do is just beat and bang with people.
And Jimmy Spencer forgot about what he did to me at Phoenix last year.
From the unfriendly confines of Bristol to the wide open spaces of high-speed Texas. Qualifying next. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway as Robert Yates drivers Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd talk things over. As we get ready to qualify, there's the first man out, Jimmy Spencer. It's front pole qualifying day here at Texas Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Welcome to Texas. What a place this is. This track was so fast that one open wheel racing series came here. Their drivers got dizzy and they couldn't race. So what did they do? They repaved it and made it faster. 14 drivers in practice broke the track record earlier today. So Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds. I'm a little nervous about qualifying. These cars are so fast here now.
Oh, yeah. All the drivers were real apprehensive coming into this race this weekend. So many unknowns. When you got a new surface, tires, you know, and what's going to happen, how fast are we going to go? They're going to be over 210 mile an hour, I bet you, down the straightaway. We'll see that here in a little bit.
Going into the corner, there's no doubt. In Atlanta Motor Speedway, I think you're fixing to lose the claim, fastest racetrack, because I think it's fixing to happen here today at Texas. Terry Labonte holds the record, a little over 192. I believe that pole's going to be a little over 194, and as you say, almost 210 miles an hour. It's a mile-and-a-half racetrack.
I promised all my friends at home to watch it was going to be 198. So you think I missed it?
Missed it just a little bit.
Okay, well,
let's have a look at practice speed.
on the straightaway.
At least.
Ricky Rudd tops the list. Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson are the fast five in practice. Our last Winston Cup winner, Kurt Busch, there with Johnny Benson. And all the makes are represented in the top 10.
Looks like that rule change may have helped the Chevrolets a little bit. How about it, Matt?
Well, DW down here on the grid, Jeff Gordon here at Texas, the worst racetrack on his resume, but you started here second back in 1997. How important to try to get an inside starting spot for Sunday, because you just mentioned passing is going to be difficult.
Yeah, I'm looking for an odd number here today.
How can you predict that?
I can, but all I know is DuPont Chevrolet is really strong. We're going to go for number one and see what kind of lap we get. The car's certainly there, you know, and we drew a decent number here. I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot, but track's awful fast, and you just got to hit all your marks just right in order to get that good smooth lap. And that's what we're really looking for here, a good solid position to start, because track position is going to be so critical.
Looking for number one. He was number two in the practice session earlier today. Guys?
Jimmy Spencer did not practice well. He's the first car, though, out to qualify on this brand new track surface.
But, you know, we've seen Jimmy pick up the pace several times this year so far. Atlanta comes to mind in his qualifying run, so we'll see how he does today.
I mean, since he missed the race at Daytona, his average start in 5 races has been 6.4. Good qualifying effort every qualifying day.
Ooh. He's off it.
You know, 28.5 is not going to get it.
But we don't, you know, I don't have any idea, and I don't know if, Larry, maybe you do, if the second lap's going to be better today or not.
Well, I think it is. We've talked about the speeds, and one thing you have to do to run that kind of speed, you have to pull a very high gear, almost a gear like we're pulling at Daytona and Talladega, so it's almost hard to even get up to speed with that high gear on the first lap.
Yeah, his car looked good. He got a little high there on the first lap. Just see if this is any better. Yeah, he picked up quite a bit.
28.181 in the ballpark for Jimmy Spencer. And and that is just 8/100ths off the track record. But full qualifying at Texas continues after this. Welcome back to Texas. Ron Hornaday is in the CLR Ford this week, and his first lap similar to Spencer's, but he only picked up about 1/10 of a second. 189.5. Brings Jimmy Johnson, the rookie, onto the speedway.
This could be our first test. He was 5th quickest in practice at a 27.93. Let's see what he does here.
He's on pole right now on his first lap, and of course, based on how much Spencer picked up, he could. Oh, he wobbled right there, Larry.
Yeah. All right, still green arrow.
Yeah, but he lost a lot of.
He did lose a little bit of bobble here at these speeds means a lot of loss in your lap time.
Well, a lot of it is just confidence.
And he's actually turned the red here, lost it getting into turn 3 right there.
Yeah, his car's gotten loose on him.
When that arrow's red, he is slower than the current pole sitter. When it's green, he is faster. And Jimmy Johnson's second lap will be slower by some 0.3 of a second. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, it's been a disappointing year for the Robert Yates Racing team. Between veterans Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett, just 3 top 10 starts and 2 top 10 finishes between them. Rudd 14th in points, Jarrett deep down at points, 24th. And this week, Jarrett's crew chief Jimmy Elledge left the team. But as you said earlier, both of those cars are among the top 5 fastest in practice, with Ricky Rudd's the quickest.
Let's look at Jarrett's car. Also was right up there in practice, and John Andretti comes on the speedway.
I was going to drive the big brown truck, and I never did get the opportunity, so I'm going to drive a big yellow truck next week. Martin.
John looked like he was way up the racetrack right there. He used it all up coming off the corner,
I think he just sailed it down in there into turn 1. The front end didn't stick, Larry, and it kind of washed up the hill with him.
Right there. That's where you need to be running, right around the bottom of both ends.
Looks like the car's really tight. It's really, really pushing up off the corner. But the second lap, you know, you got a second chance here, and with a harder tire and a new surface, the chance the second lap could be considerably better. Looks a lot better there as far as staying on the white line.
Andretti right now he goes 100th off, and 100th of a second can be a lot.
It's getting in here is where it's going to make the difference when he gets into turn 3. How good he gets in there and how quick he gets back to the gas. See, he's closed it down. He's ever so close.
Just about 100. Moves to second. 6/100ths of a second off of Jimmy Johnson's present pole time. Matt?
Well, Mike, Spencer driving the big red car just drops a 3rd, but are you still pleased with that lap, Jimmy?
Yeah, from where we were in practice, we picked up a lot. It's not going to be that great a time at the end of the day, but it is still accomplishment for Team Target. You know, we've qualified the top 10 every race so far this year, and it ain't going to be today, but we didn't even think we were going to make the race. And, you know, we really slid the nose all day long, and we finally got it to where it was fairly decent, but it still wasn't what it needed to be. But it'll be hard to pass on this racetrack, but I'm excited about it. I mean, we've been running really well all year long, and we got a long road to go on Sunday, but still 500-mile race at Texas.
Spencer looking for his first win this season in the 41 car, while Matt Kenseth is on the clock.
Yeah, he really bottomed out getting into turn 1. Saw the fire flying out from under that bad boy.
And as smooth as this racetrack is, that means these guys really have a soft spring package trying to get these cars down on the ground, get all that straightaway speed they can.
Yeah, they got about a 1,500-pound spring in the right front. That's not a lot of spring to be doing 190 miles an hour with.
Matt Kenseth has climbed to second in the Winston Cup standings after the Bristol race. 4th on his first lap.
Things really hitting hard going down into turn 1.
That's about what he ran in practice. He was only 30th quickest in practice. Qualified 5th for tomorrow's Busch race. There's about 9 of these Winston Cup guys that will be in tomorrow's Busch race on Fox.
It just looks like it's sliding the nose, and I've heard that a lot from a lot of different drivers, that they just can't get the grip in their front tires. Keep wanting to push the nose.
And Kenseth's second lap is faster, but by only 3/100ths of a second. So he will stand 4th of the 5 drivers who have qualified so far. Bobby Labonte's first lap, good for the outside pole here at Texas. Jimmy Johnson is our fastest qualifier in a Chevy. Then Labonte's Pontiac at 28.152. And onto the track comes Steve Park, who's qualified 5th, 6th, and 3rd in his 3 prior starts here.
This looks like a really good lap. I know he got through turns 1 and 2 really well.
28.29. That's good for 5th quickest on his first lap. Of course, Steve finishing 2nd here last year to Dale Jarrett. Had that great battle for most of the race.
And let's check in there with Steve.
Thanks, Mike. With Dale Jarrett. Dale, awfully quick in practice. How do you feel about qualifying?
Well, you know, we haven't really done anything to the car other than what they do for normal qualifying procedures. So hopefully we'll pick up a little bit. The car's awful good. This is awful fast, but that's what we do is race fast. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what plays out. But I think the guy that beats my teammate, Ricky Rudd.
All right, Steve Park on the pole right now. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Steve, he just knocked Jimmy Johnson from the pole down to 2nd. But how was your lap, Jimmy?
The lap was good. We expected to pick up a little bit. It seems like it's got a little cooler. We also like to go out on stickers. I don't know how that's going to play out. Going out as early as we did, you know, the track might have been a little bit dirty and the car was skaty, so I'm not exactly sure if it was the sticker tire or the track being a little dusty. But we slowed up almost 2/10, and everybody usually finds a little bit more in qualifying. So I don't know what to really hope for, but, you know, we got a great race car, and we'll be up front on Sunday with Lowe's Monte Carlo.
At Daytona 500 pole sitter currently 2nd.
Jerry Nadeau on the speedway, and boy, he climbed the hill.
He did. He went down in there, and that thing took off. Big time.
And Steve Park's run, in the immortal words of Indy's Tom Carnegie, it's a new track record.
Yeah, he looked fast. He got around there really well on his first lap, and he picked up that little bit on the second. Nadeau's not out of it. That was on his first lap, so he comes back now, and he tries to really concentrate, focus, get him a good second lap.
He almost had to just stop and start over 29.17, which is over a second off. And what Jimmy Johnson was talking about going on stickers, that means new tires. Most of the teams, and this is normally what will happen on a new surface, you will actually go out and run your qualifying tires a lap or two and scuff the tires in because the new surface has so much grip. A new tire will tend to be a little wormy when you go out first run.
Yeah, I think I would have chosen to go on a set of buff tires if I'd have been him.
Jerry Nadeau picks up over half a second, but it's only good for 7th fastest.
Yeah, he really just, he lost all of his momentum, and like Larry said, they pull such a high gear, you lose that momentum, you're not going to get a good lap time.
Fastest man in this town right now is Steve Park. Had a disappointing first lap of 28.539. Not a bad lap, not a great one, but then climbed the hill on lap 2 and shut it down. So he is 9th of 9, and along comes Jeremy Mayfield, who was 3rd in practice.
Ran a 27.90. Actually sat on the very first pole that anybody ever won here at Texas 1998. Our first year here in 97, we were rained out, had to start by points.
Car looks good. Look at that nose down against, sealed off against the racetrack. Making some good steam. Really good steam on the pole.
Mayfield, 28. The celebration interview. I guess it'll be a short one, Matt.
And I must be starting a bad luck trend here. Well, first off, what did you say to Paul Andrews when you crossed the finish line?
Wow. I was glad it was over with. You know, Texas is just real fast, and it depends on Chevrolet. I mean, they worked so hard to get this car to qualify good, and we didn't come off the truck as fast as we qualified. So Paul Andrews and the guys, they worked real hard to get the car to qualify as well as it did, and I'm just thankful for them.
Well, he was 19th in practice, currently 2nd on the pylon, guys.
And there is our current pole sitter, Jeremy Mayfield, 28.019 seconds as we creep up toward 193 miles an hour. Dale Jarrett, 4th in practice, who's on his first qualifying lap.
He looks good too, guys. I tell you, he is going down through this front straightaway. Holy cow. If there's 193 or 4 mile an hour lap, it's here.
Yeah.
On the pole. First one under 28 seconds. And he's going for 2. And Matt can interview somebody else who's just been knocked off the pole.
I think he quit. Yeah, he quit.
Yep, he's done. Matt?
Well, Jeremy Mayfield, you had the pole for about 2 minutes. How treacherous was your lap, though?
Well, it's pretty good that you got here. That's what the problem was. It was a good lap. You know, I'm proud of the Dodge dealers, UAW Dodge team here, man. They worked hard and really working hard to get me what I want, you know, what I'm wanting to feel. And, man, every week we keep getting better. And I know we're not having pole for sure, but that'll get us a good starting spot. And car's driving really good, engine's running good, and just proud of these guys here.
Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
To Steve.
Well, thanks, Matt. Johnny Benson has a little different look this weekend. Baseball season has started. He'll be throwing out the first pitch of the Texas Rangers game Saturday night. First things first, though, pretty quick in practice here.
Not too bad. Looking forward to qualifying. We'll see what we can do with this RadioShack baseball car. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to going out and throwing a pitch Saturday night. That'll be a big time. Everybody's making sure I get over the plate. So maybe I'll throw it over his head.
yeah, don't make us look bad. Throw a strike, would you? Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the racetrack.
Benson's crew chief tried to tell him he was going to the stadium for the coin toss.
DW, this little car, he goes through 3 and 4 like he went through 1 and 2. He's going to be pretty tough here.
This bad boy right here is also digging, and look at it sealed off. I like the way it looks. This car looks better than Jarrett's did.
Last year's pole sitter Dale Earnhardt Jr. third on his first lap.
I think he's got a little something left, though.
28.054.
Got his first Busch win and his first Winston Cup win here in Texas.
He's behind the curve right now. You know, other than Spencer, we really haven't seen anybody pick up that much. A few hundreds. The car still looks really good, but see what happens here.
Yeah, you see on the Fox tracks, he's almost 3 tenths behind Dale Jarrett right there.
The car really looked good. I tell you, that thing was down on the track. That left front tire sucked up in that fender well.
Another full weekend of racing across the Fox networks continues tomorrow on FX. Winston Cup practice, Busch Series race presented by Old Spice on Fox. Then Sunday, start your race day with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice here on the net, followed by the Samsung RadioShack 500 on Fox. Wrap it all up with NASCAR Victory Lane here on the net. The Fox Network, your home for NASCAR.
Okay, I'm either going to owe you $1 or you're going to owe me $1.
Well, we did bet the usual, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Boy, these fans love him, though. He was second fastest in practice. Ran a 27.84. Let's see what he can do here.
I thought nobody took Gordon.
30, didn't you?
I'll let you know here in about 15
Green arrow, Larry.
Well, the Busch cars ran 193 mile an hour here yesterday. Now, it's a little more, it's a little cooler, a little overcast. I'm surprised that nobody's. I thought the speeds would be higher than they are, really.
Right there in the middle of 3 and 4. He was Greenlee, got right there in the middle.
Getting into 3. Got a little loose getting into 3.
About 2 tenths behind right here.
9th on his first lap.
He got loose. He gave up everything he had gained. It was good down there 1 and 2, but he got her into 3 a little too hard, I believe.
And Mike, you were right. I didn't take him.
No.
I didn't think I did.
Especially now.
Now, his car, if you notice the difference in the attitude of his car, look how high it is. The front of his car is way up high to going down the straightaway. Now, it comes down in the turn. That's a product of a lot of rebound and soft springs.
Yeah, what happens, they have those soft springs in it. It travels so much in the corner, they have to have the valence up high where it don't rub in the corner.
Right.
Second lap is slower. So Gordon is 9th quickest so far. All right, Matt, you get to interview somebody who's on the pole.
Dale Jarrett still on the pole. How exciting was that lap, DJ?
Well, the good thing is it doesn't last very long, but it is exciting. I tell you, this is a fast racetrack. I've got a great race car, great engine. But we better hurry because I think my teammate might be going out right now, and he's the guy to beat. But thanks to their testing, Ricky and those guys came down here last week, and they helped us tremendous amount with our qualifying setup here. So we appreciate that. Hopefully we can have these Robert Yates Fords on the front row.
Dale Jarrett looking for his first pole this year, and his first here at Texas. Remember, he started on the point in 97 due to rain.
You know, all these cars have a tremendous amount of downforce. Oh, Ricky is smoking. That left front tire is rubbing in the fender there.
And we see that a lot on that 28 car. They run that left front so soft, big old front sway bar.
Like on green, he is quicker than Jarrett right now.
I really think when you get to tracks where you need a lot of downforce.
Hey, it turned green right there in turn 4, Darrell. He had lost it over in the middle of 3, but now it's green.
By the way, this was Larry's pick. And he's on pole.
27.97.
Beat my guy by, look at that, 100.
And this race team, they actually sat on the pole here with the late Kenny Irwin in March of '99.
He's still going for a little more.
Michael McSwain, crew chief for Rudd. Ricky's going for 2.
Quite a bit slower, 28.19, but fast enough to take the pole away from his teammate so far.
You know what you can't believe as a driver? That first lap never feels that good. And the second one always feels better to you, but it's never as fast.
So Ricky Rudd displaces Dale Jarrett from the pole. 2 Fords, then Mayfield's Dodge, then the Chevrolets of Earnhardt Jr., Park, and Johnson. Matt?
Well, Mike, Dale Jr. looking for back-to-back poles here. Fox Tracks had you in the green for a little while there.
Yeah, we've been the best through 1 and 2 all day. Really like that corner, but we can't seem to, or I can't seem to get through 3 and 4 like I want to or like I need to. You know, I love the new asphalt. They did a great job. I think we're going to be able to race just fine here, be able to pass people and stuff. So I'm really optimistic about the weekend and how we're going to have our car in race trim. It's just really, really fast, and just a fine line between one change and another to get the car to handle it good or bad, and we just have been bouncing back and forth, and so pretty happy.
You really think there's going to be a second groove on Sunday?
Do what now?
Think there'll be a second groove on Sunday?
I never said that. I'll be making one if I have to.
Dale Jr. currently 4th, Mike.
Tony Stewart is 11th on his first lap. Now tonight he'll be at the dirt track off the back straightaway watching his World of Outlaws car run with Danny Lasowski. And I asked Tony last night when thousands of people came here for the Fandango that the Speedway put on. I said, what's more fun, the dirt track or the paved track? He says, this is my job. That's for fun. That's right. Well, his second lap wasn't much fun.
A bit slower. He's 11th quickest, but you better believe he'll be there on race day. This is the car that he actually won at Atlanta with. We also need to document Dave Blaney is 13th. We're never to talk about his run at 28:47.
Ricky Rudd is the fastest so far in Texas. Buckshot Jones in one of the 3 Petty Dodges has completed his run. 28.517 on the second lap, and that will place him.
Good job. Thank you for your help.
Teammates who right now.
Yeah, real good.
Getting 2 cars are close enough that we can come in.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Who right now share the front row. Brett Bodine. First lap 188.2. And the second lap a little slower.
Yeah, he was 36 quickest in practice, so struggling just a little bit here. And definitely slower on the second lap, so he'll be 18th out of 18 cars so far.
All right, let's go down and meet another pole sitter. Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, this year in 2002, Ricky Rudd's average start is 24th, but you're certainly going to help that average, especially if you hold on to that pole. But the big question, did you flat-foot it, Ricky? All the way around.
Well, if you sit down in a corner, I can tell you that I did, and you wouldn't argue that question because you didn't hear the pitch of the motor change. But actually, I rolled back. I came back to about 80% throttle in the corner, and right back in it. They've done a tremendous job with this asphalt surface on this racetrack, but they also changed the entrance to the corner. They made a different angle approach, and these race cars really like that. But we're just tickled to death. Everybody on this Haviland Taurus team has done a great job stepping up to the plate. We've been behind most of the year. We had a good run at Bristol, though, a 3rd, and sort of gave us some momentum to come here this week and run good.
Well, Ricky Rudd is going to have to watch that scoring pylon because Johnny Benson's on the racetrack, and he was 7th in practice, Mike.
Yeah, Mr. Baseball this week.
And he's behind the curve. I mean, just from looking, it looked like the car's really tight. It slid the nose off it to you a lot.
Shows on the watch, 15th fastest.
And we're going to hear that a lot, I think, as the day goes on and as the weekend goes on. The front end will want to turn less and less. The more rubber that gets laid down on this new asphalt, it just hurts the grip of the front end.
Yeah, and these cars will make a ton of rear downforce. They make more rear downforce than they will front, and that's what you fight, trying to get the fenders and the tape and everything where the car is balanced out where you can run that fast lap.
Says on the hood of Benson's car, opening day for Major League Baseball, and he will go 13th Sunday and throughout the first pitch tomorrow night at the Rangers game. Cal Petty on the run to hop aboard for his qualifying lap. And our most recent Winston Cup winner, Kurt Busch. Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, they're all yet to come in butt pole qualifying. Jeff Burton's had trouble on his qualifying pass.
You know what that looks like, Larry? It looks like he went on stickers.
Very well.
The car just skating around like it never got hooked up to the track.
And it was not turning. Finally, you were talking about it at break. The front wheels bit into the racetrack, and the rear came around.
You got the wheels turned so far to the left, trying to stay in the throttle, that when the front end finally bites, it just snaps the rear end out from under you.
So Burton is 20th of the 21 drivers that have attempted so far. Kevin Harvick on the speedway, and we should mention there are 44 cars here for 43 spots, so somebody's going home.
Harvick slows down on his second lap, so he will be 10th quickest, qualified 6th for tomorrow's Busch race. He'll be running the Busch race again tomorrow as he did at Bristol.
Jeff Green on the pole for that one, and you'll see it tomorrow. Weeknights at 6, Totally NASCAR. Here on Fox Sports Net, 30 minutes and everything you need to know to get ready for a full weekend of NASCAR action. Totally NASCAR, tonight and every weeknight at 6 on Fox Sports Net, hosted by Steve Burns.
Hey, thanks, Mike. We love that show. Hey, Ricky Craven has 2 poles in 2002, but Ricky, the practice sheet, you guys weren't too fast. What do you think is going to happen here in qualifying?
Well, let me give you my opinion. My opinion is I'm very poor at practicing, and I'm going to have to let you know how I am at qualifying. The guys have done a great job all year. They give me great cars. It's just that 2 hours isn't a lot of time here, and we struggled a little bit, but we actually did get better. The field's going to be tight. You know, it's going to be really close. And we're definitely going to be better than we were in practice, no matter how much.
All right, tighten those belts, Ricky.
Here's Rusty Wallace, 12th on his first lap, and what a surprise his season has been. He is 3rd in the Winston Cup points, but doesn't have a top 5 finish. Perhaps the biggest surprise is he's not led a lap this season.
Yeah, I just think that's because he's a veteran driver. He's missed a bunch of the big wrecks, the one at Daytona, the one at Darlington. He kind of knows where to be. His track presence is excellent.
He's racing the system right now.
That's right. He's working the system, Larry.
There you see he's about 3.5 tenths off turn 4 off Ricky Rudd.
I think the thing that surprised me about Rusty was 2 years ago, Larry, I think it was, that he won like 10 or 11 poles. He won the pole every week by a landslide.
The most poles.
The most poles that year.
So Wallace is 12th of 22 drivers that have run so far in Bud Pole qualifying at Texas.
Bud Pole qualifying on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers.
23 cars have run. Ricky Rudd is fastest. Terry Labonte just turned in a lap of 28.231, 191.279 miles an hour. Guess I have to call him Texas Terry Labonte at least once this weekend.
That's right. The Iceman or Texas Terry, whichever one.
And he was the track record before today.
And Rusty Wallace won 9 poles in the year of 2000, 2 years ago, and hadn't won one since. And I keep thinking back, Larry, and you remember this. They took his qualifying engine, tore all the pieces, and put it on display out at Sears Point.
Yes.
And from there on, I don't know that he ever had the success that he had after that.
That group was definitely probably one of the more aggressive groups with the lighter parts of the qualifying engine.
They had a lot of good, unique stuff in that engine.
Rick Mast out of Virginia for Ginny Donlevy. The Sowers number 90 Ford, 17th, 28.403.
That should put him in the field, and he did not qualify for this race a year ago.
It's not a bad lap.
Missed the show.
Not a bad lap at all.
See if he picks up on this second lap. He does not. 13/100 slower.
Mark Tudor is the crew chief on the car now, and he and Rick worked really well together a couple of years ago. So they got that program turned around a little bit, Steve.
Well, guys, Jeff Green is on the pole for the Busch race tomorrow, but he's having problems here today qualifying for the Winston Cup race. He was scheduled to go out after Buckshot Jones, but they found a leaking seal and had to change the transmission. NASCAR approved the change, but Jeff Green having a little bit of a problem here qualifying on Friday.
Last time I saw that helmet, it was on top of a Harley riding back from Bristol 2 weeks ago.
This car was fast in practice, so Michael, he had a pretty good practice speeds.
9th quickest. Car tested here. This group came here and tested.
Look at the speeds. Wow.
Look at that, 180 mile an hour through the corner.
Down in the middle of the corner.
Through the corner.
See how we get on the front straightaway is Waltrip.
That's down into turn 3, 196.
About 182 in the middle, and he has a green right now coming off turn 4. Can you keep it, Mikey? You're getting close, buddy.
Boards off the front row.
Oh!
I think he got it.
No! He ran the same speed. Same speed.
He ties Ricky Rudd to the 1,000th of a second for the pole.
There he comes again. He hasn't given up yet. He's going to try to make another lap. That's a great lap. This looks good too, Larry. I mean, the car still looks good.
He's going to have to be quicker to win the pole.
Yes, a teeny bit, but I don't think he did it.
No.
Now, we need to clarify, he will be second right now because the tiebreaker is who's highest in points, and the 28 car versus the 15 car is higher in points.
You're the man, buddy. You're the man.
Boy, you love to hear that. Those are the kind of things that make you 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
A great lap for Michael Waltrip.
I mean, he's one of the few cars that has actually picked up time from his practice runs.
So Ricky Rudd holds onto the pole by no margin. Michael Waltrip runs the exact same speed. Qualifying continues after this. Robbie Gordon on the clock in the Richard Childress Singular Chevy.
He's 11th quickest, 28.219.
Decent first lap. And Gordon will go for 2.
Car looks...
Whoa. Hold on, Robbie. Ooh.
Wow.
Hard lick.
I was just going to say the car looked a little loose.
That shows you just how fast this place is.
Wow. Well, that third turn, listen, it is breathtaking. You go down that back straightaway to 196, 197 miles an hour. And folks, I mean, you got to throw the car in there to make it turn. The car's just laying over on the right rear a little bit too far, Larry.
Just as he made the transition to turn down into turn 3, you could see the rear and come around.
You could just see the car as it started to make the transition, just laying on the right rear a little bit too much.
Just as he turns it to the bottom, right there.
He might have entered that turn just a tad too high. That could have been just because the car was loose and he couldn't get it to the bottom.
Gordon is out of the car. He is okay. When this track was built, it quickly developed a reputation just as a car-eating racetrack, and nothing's changed.
Well, and the thing about it is, again, we talk about the incredible speeds down these straightaways and the entry. We had trouble here the first year or two with the first turn entry. It was a very unusual entry into turn 1. They worked on that. They made it better. Now you're carrying so much speed into turn 3 that it makes it difficult to make that turn.
So Robbie Gordon is okay. Let's meet the man who has tied Ricky Rudd for the pole. Here's Matt.
Well, Michael Waltrip has 2 poles on his racing resume. 2.5 maybe, Michael, if this holds up.
Well, I don't know. We've got a lot of cars to go. You know, when you get a pole, and I have a good memory, so I do remember the 2 that I got. You know, you have to have about a perfect lap, and I was pretty well perfect in 1 and 2, and in 3 and 4, I just car didn't tell me it was time to go yet, and I laid off the gas a little bit longer than I wanted to, so I'm just real proud. We came here and tested. Dave Charpentier leads our engineering team, and we just got a whole lot of smart people that work on our cars, and we put a real emphasis on coming down here and testing and hoping it would go well. Richie Gilmore, we pulled a gear that you'd pull at Daytona, basically. It's how much power we had, and you got to be fast to squeeze in between those two cars that were at the top of the board anyway.
Well, there's no squeezing anything in between yourself and Ricky Rudd. How frustrating to run the same identical time.
Well, it'd be real frustrating if I go to bed tonight and that's the way it turned out, but maybe somebody will come along and run about a 70, you know, and just blow us out of the water, and then it'll be a moot point and nobody will ever remember this happened. But you know, it's wild. Seems like stuff like that, crazy stuff like that happens to me occasionally, but you know what? It's Buffy's birthday, so I want to tell her happy birthday, and I also want to say hello to my brother-in-law, Rick, who's a young man that has had a little bit of trouble, and he's in the hospital. And I love you, Rick, and I hope you're doing better, buddy.
Well, good job today. Let's go to Steve Burns. Steve?
Matt, I promised I wasn't going to do this, but Sterling Marlin has even asked that I do Sterling Marlin. Didn't you?
I did. Honestly.
Okay, so here we go. Hey, Sterling, I've been looking at the records, and, you know, your best finish here is 21st. And you're the points leader. What's up, man?
No, it's 9th. 8th tonight.
But
yeah, but best start's 21st.
yeah, probably starting. I'm not a real good qualifier here, but we found some stuff on the Coors Light Dodge a while ago, the last practice, and if I can run what I practice at, I'll be about 5th. So hopefully it's going to pick us up a couple tenths, putting oil in it, take the rest way up, and see what we got.
Sterling, I've been interviewing you for a lot of years, and my favorite Sterling Marlinism is throw the stick in my spoke. Back me up.
If sticking spokes hurt.
All right, good luck, man. Thanks. Thanks for being a good sport, man.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody who's had a bicycle knows what that means. And by the way, Steve, his best finishes here are 8th and 9th. So he was right on both guesses.
Yeah, he might go back home tomorrow, back to Columbia, Tennessee, because tomorrow, folks, is Mule Day.
Oh, my goodness.
Columbia, Tennessee, and they'll have the big Mule Day parade. And Sterling's probably got a couple of them old boys laid up in the barn somewhere.
Is this weekend?
Yeah.
Steve, how about it?
Hey, Sterling, Daryl just said it's Mule Day in Columbia. Are you actually missing that big festivity?
I had never seen it. Never seen it. I've always been racing, and I never get to see it. They didn't do it for a lot of years. It started back like 74, 75, and always been racing. Always miss it. But
what is the highlight of that event?
I don't know. I guess it's a bunch of drunk asses.
That's an appropriate expression of Mule Day in Columbia, Tennessee.
Yeah, and they have mules, too.
Yeah. Miss Mule Day is actually the highlight of the weekend. They have the Miss Mule Day pageant.
Rolling out the backup car for Robbie Gordon. Speaking of Mule Day, tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show, period. The guys are visited by Rockies third baseman Todd Zeal. The Black Widow of Billiard, Jeanette Lee, takes on the boys. Coach Dan Dickow, Mark Few and Dan Dickow of Gonzaga will be there on the Emmy-nominated Best Damn Sports Show, period, tonight at 8 and 11 only.
So Coach Knight on there today. Bobby Knight was on there this morning.
There's Coach Evernham. And we'll be back on Mule Day weekend here in Texas. We've got a hold on Bud Pole qualifying, and here is the reason why. Robbie Gordon on his second lap.
That car is a little loose right there, Larry. You can see the back tires. See how much distance there is between the back tires and the front tires. It goes through the corners, hung out just a teeny bit. What I don't really like is how the car lays over on the right rear.
Right there. Just as he turned it down to the bottom, the back end just came around with him. It just happened so fast, there's no recovery.
It's almost like they had a lot of rebound in the right rear shock trying to keep the thing down on that side, so it'd go fast down the straightaway. Got him loose getting in the corner.
He's qualified 11th, but as we saw, they were unloading the backup car, and he will absolutely have to start at the rear of the field by virtue of going to a backup car.
But something we should point out, and a question that was raised a couple of times that I saw at least on the internet, is he will be the 11th qualifier. That means he'll be the 11th team to pick his pit, and that is his official starting position. Whether he goes to a backup car, whether they change engines, no matter what happens, the qualifying position you earn is what determines the other events through the weekend.
Right, because once you've established that time, I mean, if he wrecked in happy hour, same thing.
Right.
I mean, he would be the 11th qualifier. He'd go to the rear of the field. So basically, he recorded his first lap, got him in the race. What happens after that is the same that happened tomorrow.
Now, this is a change from rules gone by, or days gone by, because didn't Cale Yarborough run 200 mile an hour at Daytona? But because the car came back in a basket and they couldn't inspect it, they didn't credit him with that fast qualifying lap on his first lap. He wrecked in turn 4 of his second lap in 1983.
Yeah, they've made a lot of adjustments through the years to a lot of different procedures of how you get into race provisionals. Just like the tie here is based on car owner points. There wasn't too many years ago. It was based on who did it first. So they've adjusted these things as time has gone by.
And we have had at least one previous tie for the pole. Happened in 1968 at Darlington. Charlie Glotzback and Cale Yarborough ran identical speeds. But the way things were determined then and until very recently, the driver who set the time first got the higher position. So Glotzback won the pole because he set that speed and then Cale matched it.
And oh, by the way, I was not in that race.
1968? Steve Burns.
All right, thanks, Mike. With Hut Strickland, Hut, looks like on the practice chart you guys are struggling a little bit. Do you think you've picked up some speed from after practice?
Well, I don't know, Steve. You know, we've been struggling really since we've been here with this Hills Brothers Coffee Dodge. We've been pretty tight going into corners, which is you know, kind of an unusual problem. But for the most part, you know, we got our first in-house car here this weekend that we built, or the guys at the shop have built, and you know, I'm pretty excited about that. It's driving good, and you know, we just got to work on it a little bit and sort the bugs out of it. But I think it's going to be a good piece.
Good luck.
Thank you, man.
The delay here is lengthened because when Robbie Gordon got into the wall, apparently some fluid was spilled up in turns 3 and 4, and it's not fair to ask the rest of these drivers to go sailing off through that corner at over 180 miles an hour mid-corner speed without getting it and the stay dry cleaned up and blown off the racetrack. So it's going to take a little while here.
They have the jet dryer out there trying to blow it off because it's a pretty critical part of the racetrack right there on the exit of the corner. And just to put a period on Robbie Gordon's weekend, as soon as he's finishing the race here on Sunday, he'll be flying to Indianapolis, going to try to do the double duty on Memorial Day weekend, running the Coca-Cola 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway, then running the Indianapolis 500, doing a test session there Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Tony Stewart's announced he will not do the Memorial Day double, and John Andretti inquired of his boss, Kyle Petty, who said John will also not be doing the Memorial Day double. More butt pull qualifying after this. Little break in the action here at Texas Motor Speedway. Big full infield and grandstand of folks. She's ready to go.
That's boogity, boogity, boogity right there.
Sure is.
She's all over it. Now watch this. Go, go. Look at her. She been listening to DW.
I think she's excited for another reason, Mike.
Could it be the Speed Channel?
The need for speed.
Need more NASCAR? Tonight at 7 Eastern, 9 Pacific. Go trackside at Texas. Darrell, Larry, and Jeff, and Steve Burns preview Sunday's race. Then on Monday at 7 Eastern, 9 Pacific, it's NASCAR Inside Winston Cup with the guys who live it every weekend. Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, Kenny Schrader with Alan Bester. To get Speed Channel, call 888-22-SPEED. Let's go trackside. Matt.
Well, Mike, Robbie Gordon in the garage here looking at what will now be his primary car for Sunday, unless something happens at happy hour, which we hope it doesn't. But first off, how to describe your lap there, Robbie?
Well, actually, the first lap was a little bit free, so I was a little bit conservative. And the way the track has been tightening up on the second lap, we felt we were going to be really good. And I went down into 3, stayed in it, and it just started to break loose a little bit. And I kept staying in it, hoping it'd come back, and it just didn't. But you know, it's unfortunate. The guys who worked so hard at RCR build us good race cars that we lose a car like that. One thing nice about it, though, they do build such good race cars. We got another one in the trailer that's just as good for a backup. So you know, I know that we'll be in good shape. Unfortunately, it's a big disadvantage to start so far back. You know, these high-speed tracks, aerodynamics play such a big role. We knew how important qualifying was. That's why I went for it. And it's unfortunate because we've been qualifying good all year, and you know, the singular wireless team's been doing a good job. We just got to score some points.
Now, you were over apologizing to Gil and the guys about wrecking that primary car, and what were they telling you? They were happy to have Robbie G in the seat.
You know, the biggest thing is they want to run good. You know, we struggled last year at tracks like this at Atlanta and Charlotte, and you know, at least now we're running the speed. Unfortunately, probably just set it up a little bit too loose for me. We were a little bit tight in practice. I told Gil, you know, go ahead and free it up a little more, and just a little too much.
To Steve. Steve?
Thanks, Matt. We're just hanging out with our most recent Winston Cup winner, Kurt Busch. Now, at Bristol, you told DW, I haven't figured this place out, but you look pretty good here in practice here at Texas.
So far, so good. It might have just been the special paint scheme last weekend, but every car's special at Roush. This is a new little look for Rubbermaid here. We're excited about it. So far, so good this year. I mean, we had a shot at the pole at Vegas, Atlanta, and this Texas track is a mix between the two. So we're going to throw it at it and go see if we can get our pole.
Now, Darrell was just asking, do you like the transitions here at Texas, which seem to be your specialty?
They actually smoothened them out, Darrell. They actually took a little bit of banking away into the corners, and we obviously saw Robbie had a little trouble with my transition. So I'll go talk to him, let him know what he needs to do, but I'm sure he can figure it out on his own.
But now we need to tell everybody how you check these transitions. You actually walk the racetrack and use like engineering tools and all that stuff.
It's a little angle finder. You got to put a battery in it, and it has a little digital read on it. And I use a level sometimes to help out. 2x4s, they come warped. it depends on where you get them in part of the country. So things have been good so far for us, and I'm just excited that we can just keep this momentum rolling. Things have been solid so far this year.
Now, Kurt, when exactly do you do this transition checking?
We're going to keep riding this. I see. Okay. All right. Well, when we test, we go to a few tracks that we haven't been to. Like when I started my rookie campaign, I did 7 cup races, did 7 tests. We went to Dover, mean transitions at Dover. Then Martinsville, that place is kind of bumpy. I'll tell DW about it next week so we can help him out. You know, we just do it during testing when you got time to sit back and relax and take a good thought effort at it and just put everything together.
Well, we need to transition back to the booth.
All right, send it upstairs.
Boy.
Now, I always checked all my transitions, but I did it with a string. Because think about it, the tallest buildings in the world are built with a string. So I didn't need all those fancy battery-operated dangle finders.
Now, what did Hammond check you with? Because he said he never saw you out there checking anything.
Hammond would walk along beside him saying, "What are you doing?" That's all he ever said to me. "What are you doing?"
You know, it's an old road racing trick to walk the track in the opposite direction you're going to race it and try to pick up things like that. But I never saw anybody out there with a protractor.
See, Larry, I got to tell you this. So I taught Hammond everything he knows. I just didn't teach him everything I know. All right.
Okay.
Well, here's a fellow who knows how to go fast here. He's on the pole for tomorrow's Busch Series race. Jeff Green, 9th on his first lap, 28.166.
And right now, his pole speed for the Busch race is a little bit faster than Ricky Rudd's pole speed right now. He ran a 27.90 for the Busch pole.
He's gonna shut that bad boy off. He's gonna take one shot at it. Don't blame him. After he saw his teammate have trouble.
So Green is 9th. Behind Ricky Rudd, Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, Jeremy Mayfield, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. The top 5. Then Steve Park, Jimmy Johnson, and Bobby Labonte. John Andretti rounds out the top 10. 1 Pontiac, 2 Dodges, 2 Fords, and 4 Chevrolets in the top 10 as Dale Earnhardt Jr. tries to make his way back to the garage area amidst a sea of fans and well-wishers. Casey Atwood, Jim Smith's Sirius Dodge.
This was his Las Vegas car, but I talked to Buddy Red Dog Barnes, who's acting as a crew chief right now. They took this car back to the shop after Vegas and actually sent it up to the 9 and the 19 shop. They reworked the whole body, reworked some points on the chassis, and that's the car they brought back here.
Larry, you're up on this stuff because you're in the crew chief fraternity. Is this where Jimmy Etheridge is going to end up?
That's what my people tell me.
I knew your people were telling you something, so I just was curious.
Yeah, it's expected that Jimmy Ellis will join this team as crew chief.
It's one of the teams that he definitely has talked to. Casey right now is 15th at 28.23. And just real quickly, I don't want to get to the end of this qualifying show without mentioning this. We heard Michael wish Buffy happy birthday, his wife. We want to wish Bill France Jr., who celebrated a birthday yesterday. The man that has made all this responsible.
Oh, you're stealing my thunder there, aren't you? You're trying to get those brownie points that I need bad.
I don't want that trophy or whatever it is.
The Darrell Waltrip Society.
Yeah. Casey Atwood picks up to 12th fastest. Good lap for Casey.
Well, good job. Good job. Water and oil.
Speaking of young guns, let's go down to Steve with yet another one.
And that's Ryan Newman. Ryan, a lot of people said, boy, if we come to a place this fast, Ryan Newman's going to be a threat for the pole, but you guys haven't been very fast in practice.
Not yet. We've been struggling a little bit. Just we didn't come down here and test, and just adapting to the new tire and the new asphalt. It's been pretty big for us, but hopefully we can get a good run in for the All-Tough 4. We haven't qualified yet, so we're still a threat for the pole.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, that's what I like about those young guys. We haven't qualified yet. Don't count me out yet.
Ricky Craven, who said he's not a good practicer, but he's been a good qualifier. He's got 2 Bud poles this year.
He's surprised people on 2 occasions I can think of.
And that leads the league. Just barely touched down to 179 as the slow point of the corner.
It's going off into turn 3.
Well, he really arced it off in there, got it out wide getting in and made that late entry. Sometimes that's good for a lot of speed.
6th on his first lap, 6th fastest.
That is a good lap.
It is.
28.06. And that's almost 4/10 quicker than he ran in practice. We talk about the track temperature a lot. I think a lot of people had hoped going later into the session the track temperature would cool down. It's actually 4 degrees hotter track temperature-wise than it was when we started. It was 86 degrees when we started. Now it's 90 degrees, so it's not cooling off any.
Ricky's second lap about a quarter-second slower, so he will stand 6th. And that puts 3 Fords in the top 10 for now. Knocks John Andretti's Dodge out of the top 10.
3 and 4. Good 3 and 4. Thanks for sticking with it.
It was a Chief Mike Beam up there clocking segments, and must have shown where he went and got through 3 and 4 pretty good.
Yeah, and so many times you don't practice well, and the driver's trying to tell you what he needs, and the crew kind of gets sometimes they get just somewhat disgusted and confused. It's not like that, you know, he really congratulated the crew on doing a good job, sticking with it and getting it like I need it.
Mark Martin, who won here in 1998, has started every Winston Cup race at Texas in the top 10.
Also won 3 Busch races here, too, so he pretty much has dominated the Busch series till he decided to retire from Busch racing.
I tell you, and he got through turns 1 and 2 really good. He was 182 mile an hour through the center of turns 1 and 2.
Boy, he drove it off in the corner right there. You saw it get a little bit. The Fox tracks really get less there, but he paid the price on the exit of the corner.
Really close.
5th fastest. Good lap for Mark Martin.
28.02.
Mark needs a good run. He needs to get out there and get up front and do some lead the race, and I think it'd really mean a lot to him and his team, because he struggled some this year.
He shut it down after that first lap.
Martin's last win, Martinsville, April 2 years ago, 68 races.
Yeah, it's a long time for Mark Martin not to win a race, and particularly when we've been to places that he has always dominated. Rockingham and Bristol come to mind. Certainly this will be a track that he runs well.
Car owner Jack Roush. And boy, he's got to be pretty happy. There's Matt Kenseth, 2nd in points. And at this race last year, Kenseth was 25th. All of Roush's cars are in the top 10. None of them were in the top 20 at this stage a year ago.
And really the only major changes over there was the swapping of the crew chief from Kurt Busch to Mark Martin, swapping Ben Leslie over to Mark Martin and Jimmy Finney over to Kurt Busch.
I think they've stepped up a lot. I think their motor programs are better. I think their aero program is better. I think they're better everywhere.
A lot of mechanic, you know, improvements.
Right. I watched the cars run, and this year they look like they got pretty good downforce. They also look like they got pretty good steam on the hood. I don't know that they got the Yates power, but they're better than they were last year.
Elliott Sadler, he was 20th quickest in practice. He ran a 28.16. Showing it green right there. Is he going to do it? He's on the pole. 27.969.
And he's 193.071.
Larry, like we said, maybe going later in the session would pay off. He gave up on her right there. I think
it was not very good in turn 2.
New sheriff in town.
That's right.
These guys tested out here. I talked to Pat Trice and the crew chief. They were very happy with their test.
I feel like I left a lot out here.
That's good. That's a good feeling to have. Be on the pole and he left a lot.
Leave it out there. Right?
That's right.
All right, Mark Martin moves from 5th to 6th on the board. Matt's with him.
And he nearly backed up his practice times. And Mark, you seemed a little out of breath in the radio.
Well, you know, I didn't leave anything, if that's what you mean. If I felt like fresh as a daisy, I wouldn't have been driving hard enough. I want to really thank Bruce Hayes and the guys back at Roush Racing there, Concord, for building me good stuff. And especially want to thank, you know, Ben Leslie and Todd Ziegler and these guys here. The guys at the engine shop, Roush Racing, keep making more and more horsepower. You know, that was a good run for us. I wanted to be a little bit conservative because I thought I liked the car in practice. And
that's why you passed in the second lap?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's what's bright and what's not bright, but reckon on the second lap after you qualified 5th on the first lap wouldn't be bright. So I got something to race with on Sunday here, and that was an awfully good run. We struggled qualifying. Been provisional most places this year, and this is going to be a lot better.
He takes the smart way, sticks with the first lap, and he's currently 6th right now in the 6th car. Justine.
With Ward Burton, Matt, now your Virginia buddy just stuck a big number up there on the pylon.
Sure did. Proud of him. That's a heck of a lap for Elliott. Couldn't happen to a nice fella.
And you go out last and think the track's getting faster.
Well, we got this shade is coming all of 1 and 2 now. It's actually going down the front stretch here. We saw that doing testing. When it got around 3 to 3:30, the track was a lot slicker than after that. But we got a lot to improve on that Caterpillar Dodge here. We've made a lot of changes, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more speed out of it.
All right, Sterling Marlin 14th. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Elliott Sadler, looking at the times there, your hands are still shaking.
I'm shaking pretty good. That was a great lap. Same call we had at Darlington. Just got to thank everybody with Motorcraft Quality Parts. Great team effort, US Air Force, everybody involved. Pat made a great call for qualifying and loosened the car up enough that we could run a good lap. I don't think that's going to be good enough for the pole, but that's going to be a great starting position for Sunday.
Now, did I hear you say on the radio there was a lot left out there?
Yeah, I left a lot in turn 3 and 4. That's why I know it's not good enough for the pole, but great job for my guys. Great team. I mean, just to represent these sponsors in this way in front of all these fans. Look at this. Look at these fans out here on a Friday in Texas. I love this place. Pretty fast.
The Wood brothers currently on the pole, while another famous name in racing, Kyle Petty, trying to put the Petty name back on the pole. He was 13th fastest in practice earlier today, Mike.
He's 11th on his first lap, 28.140.
That's a great lap for Kyle. Think about Kyle Petty last year, struggling, going home every week, not making races. This team has really made a big turnaround.
He actually missed this race a year ago. That's about what he ran in practice. He ran an 09 in practice.
This is Kyle Petty's kind of racetrack. You back off the throttle a little wee bit early, but man it before you even get to the corner and ride that white line. Kyle seems like if he can find a track where you can ride that white line, he really does good.
Kyle Petty is 11th so far. One Dodge in the top 10. That's Mayfield. And the Wood brothers on the pole for the first time in 1984. Will it hold up? Hut Strickland in the Hills Brothers Dodge for Bill Davis. First lap 28.308, 24th of the 35 drivers who've run. There are 44 cars here for 43 spots, and this is the Dave Marcus number 71. Jay Sauter is the driver.
And it's a Dave Marcus car, but actually with Richard Childress Racing engines, and realistically a Richard Childress Racing driver in here, because Jay Sauter next week at Nashville on Saturday on FX will be in the Busch car that Jeff Green actually is on the pole here for tomorrow in one Bristol race. On the events that's not with the Winston Cup event, Jay Sauter will drive that 21 Busch car.
Doing a pretty nice job here. I mean, that's 28 quick. That'll put him in the show.
Second lap is quicker by 3/100ths.
Well, you can tell those cars have got high gears in them. Their old motor goes by here, just sound like it's lugging along.
Well, we heard Michael talk about pulling almost like a Daytona gear. At Daytona, they're pulling like 307s, 315s. I heard of cars here pulling 325s, 333s. 2 years ago, with Mike Skinner, car I was working on qualified 11th with a 360 gear.
Yeah, we raced a 370 gear here 2 years ago.
Remember, the higher the number, the lower the gear it is.
So
Sean Robinson, sorry.
It's a lot about momentum. I mean, you get the things wound up and there's grip there, and you don't have to get out of the throttle. You just get that momentum going. It's like swinging a rope with a rock on the end of it.
Sean Robinson, the BAM racing car, that is not a sponsor.
We figured that out the other night at dinner, didn't we?
That's right, with a little help. That's Beth Ann Morgenthau. That's the car owner. The race team was a birthday gift. So they are looking for some sponsorship, though, to fill those quarter panels for the rest of the races Shauna will run this season.
She sailed that thing through 3 and 4. I don't know where she's going to end up, but she was zinging.
Wow, 13th quickest.
I tell you, I was watching that car go through 3 and 4 as good as anybody I've seen.
But Darrell, they've done a good job getting the front of that car down on the ground. And I would right now, I believe I'd be on that radio saying that'll be just good enough.
Yeah, I think I'd press my luck.
What a lap, though, for her. They tested here, was real pleased with their test. But they really got that front. Look at that front end. That orange tape sealed against that pavement. The car's working good.
Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Second lap gives back about a quarter of a second, but Shauna Robinson right now is the third fastest Dodge, and 13th.
Robinson, I'm sorry. Cuckoo-ca-choo.
You've been watching the old movie channel at night, or what? Gosh.
Tried to give him that caffeine-free.
Larry asked me one time a drink. I said, "Yeah, give me anything." And, he brings me a caffeine-free He said, I said, I don't drink caffeine-free. He said, no, but you need to.
Be a good day to start.
Oh, Kurt Busch did a little skating there.
I say that's maybe a set of stickers because they don't come in too good on the get-go lap. The track definitely seems to be getting faster, and if that's the case, this guy here could be a surprise too.
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy Finning, his crew chief, which we talked a lot about these few races because they've been a lot to talk about. And he said, let me tell you, this kid is for real. The feedback he gives you, the things he talks about the race car, but he said the real reason I'm saying it is how he raced those veterans at Bristol last week.
Oh, listen, I love to listen to him talk. He talks about something that I hadn't heard young drivers talk about a whole lot, respect. He said something about having to respect the numbers that some of these other guys have put up and things that they've accomplished. He doesn't take that lightly. He wants to be there with them, but I think he understands the work in the system.
And I think he showed at Bristol, I'm here to stay, boy.
Got that right.
Oh, yes. First lap is 16th fastest.
He got a little carrying terrier named Jim, and him and Jim walk around in the motorhome lot, and I swear he looks like he'll be going to catch the school bus. But he can drive the wheels off a race car.
Second lap is slower by almost a tenth, so Kurt Busch 16th. 6 Fords in the top 20, and there is the fastest of them, Elliott Sadler, who right now is our pole sitter. Brian Newman's Altel Ford, 31st fastest, 28.423. That will bump Jeff Burton. Burton and Brett Bodine have been bumped to provisional land. As Kenny Schrader comes on the speedway, yet another paint scheme for Schrader.
Got a good looking lap going.
My son's not going to like this. He will be 3 next month, and he's a big fan of the M&M car.
M&M car.
Yep. He won't be able to find Schrader on Sunday, but Scott, there he is, 36.
He's 24th quickest right now. Boy, he was busy during the off weekend. He went to Missouri and ran at I-55 Speedway, a track that he actually co-promotes, then hopped on his motorcycle and rode it from St. Louis to here in Fort Worth during the week.
I don't think I'd have done that.
Hey, 10th fastest.
Boy, he picked up a bunch.
He really did it. I was surprised when his first lap wasn't good.
Good run for Schrader. Puts him in the he's the only Pontiac in the top 10 right now. Steve?
And with Shauna Robinson. Shauna, great lap. Tell us about it.
Well, we made a lot of changes before the qualifying. I knew we had a good race car. I mean, this is where this team is going to be consistently. We're going to be getting a lot more consistent, a lot of real good qualifying and race runs. If we had a sponsor, it'd probably happen a little quicker, but we're building really good chemistry. And my owner, she told me that, you know, she promised me seat time this year, and I'll guarantee you I've had more of it right now than I've had in a full season of racing. So they're giving me what they're saying they will.
Good luck Sunday, Shauna.
Thank you so much.
Shauna Robinson, strong run, 14th right now, as Stacy Compton and A.J. Foyt's Conseco Pontiac.
He was pretty good in practice, Larry.
He was 10th quickest. Mike Hillman made that move over a few races ago. It's like they're starting to come together here. Fox Track's looking pretty good right there for Stacy. Coming down right here as he comes toward the start-finish line, but not enough. But boy, he's going to be 5th quickest.
Good job, Stacy. You know what I think's helping Stacy a lot is that Busch car. Running good in it, qualifying good. I think it's really helped this program. Plus, I knew that Mike Hillman would make a difference in this team, given a few weeks to get the equipment straightened out. He's a pretty sharp guy.
All right, Mike Skinner has been bumped, and now Buckshot Jones has been bumped by Compton.
And we called Stacy Compton 5th, and he will be 5th. He tied Dale Jarrett at a 27.984, but the 88 car is in front of the 14 car as far as owner points.
God, look at those ties.
2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th.
That's a great job for Stacy.
He's qualified 10th for tomorrow's Busch race, so 2 good qualifying efforts here.
Steve?
Thanks, Mike. Caught up with Kenny Schrader. A lot faster than practice, it seems like.
I don't know what we ran decent in practice, just everybody's picking up, and we wanted to have a good run down here. It's the first time we've had combos on the car. Pretty excited about that, and it's good. Johnny Benson and them came down and tested it and helped us a bunch, so just a starting spot.
Now, the car does look good, but Mike Joy mentioned that his 3-year-old son, Scotty's a little disappointed. He likes the M&Ms, guys.
Well, I really like the M&Ms, too. I really like the M&Ms car, but, you know, we've had the Snickers car and the Combos car. Now we're having a Global Keller Vote car, and you can drink Bud Light with these and Budweiser with Combos.
Hey, you know, everybody's been talking about the speed, Kenny, coming in here. Do you really, can you feel the speed?
Well, you know, I haven't been turned around yet backwards, so that's when you really know you're going fast. But tell you, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. You hit something 195 or 185. It leaves a mark either way.
All right, good luck Sunday.
Yeah, right.
All right. Oh, Kimmel. Trouble. Whoa, hard hit.
Oh, man.
That's a fuel fire there. That's back there where the fuel cell is.
Man, look at the back of that car, Larry. It is
What's back?
gone.
There is no back. Frank Kimmel, three-time ARCA champion, came here, brought his sponsor, Advance Auto Parts, to Travis Carter to bring the 26 car here. He's okay. He's not happy.
We need to mention, but he was 30th quickest as he crossed the start-finish line.
So he is in the show for Sunday, but not with that car.
That just shows you how fast 190 plus miles an hour and how it
piece of the car stuck up there in the fence.
It needed to go grab Schrader and show him that it does make a difference how fast you're going.
And Kenny's right. When those cars get turned around, you really see,
oh boy,
the speed here. Now, Travis Carter had shut this race team down and released drivers Joe Nemechek and Todd Bodine after the Kmart bankruptcy filing. The bankruptcy court would not allow them to continue sponsorship payments. But Frank Kimmel called Travis and said, I want to run the car. I can bring a sponsor and we can fund this operation. And so here they were with Texas with high hopes until this happened.
Goes down into turn one. He's just out a little bit too wide. See the right rear tires right up in that gray. He just got it in there a little too high.
It was almost exactly what happened to Robbie Gordon, just at the opposite end of the racetrack.
Exactly.
Boy, that was a hard lick.
See, it's out. He's gone. It's out from under him before he ever even. He's just starting to think about making the turn. The car's already turning around with him before he even gets there.
And you can see the fuel cell was shoved all the way into the rear end housing, and no combination of a steel box and a bladder is going to withstand that kind of hit.
Now, these cars normally will qualify with what we call low fuel. That car probably only has 5 to 7 gallons of fuel in the fuel cell. They do that in order to increase nose weight as well as get the ballast of the car as low as they possibly can. That's why we don't see any bigger fire than we see. There's not that much fuel in the car.
Because normally when they're full, they hold 22 gallons of fuel, so it's only about a fourth of the fuel capacity.
And that's a balancing act. That's another thing that you do, take it off the rear and put it on the front.
All right, so Kimmel is 30th. He will be in the race Sunday with a backup car. Let's go back to Steve Burns.
Thanks, Mike. We've caught up with Kyle Petty. Kyle, well, you guys, I mean, I know you said that you're cautiously optimistic, but boy, you come in here, it seems like with a lot of momentum.
We've just been incredibly blessed the last 2 or 3 weeks. Everywhere we've gone, places that I never ran good at before, like Darlington and Bristol, you know, we've just been blessed and we've run good. And I think a lot of us, Mike Egge Racing Engines, and a lot of us, this crew working night and day, and the guys on the 43 and the guys on the 44, all the teams are really pulling together. And we came down here and tested, and this is a little bit of a special race. This is the only place that Adam ever run a Winston Cup race. And, you know, I missed it the year he ran it, and I couldn't have been prouder standing on top of the truck watching him drive that year. And then I came back last year and there was too many memories. My head wasn't in the game. I was just floundering here. So this year is big for us.
Kyle, I asked you a year ago at this time if you still had the desire or the fire to drive a race car, and you said you did. Now it seems like the fun has returned.
I think the fun's returned, and I got to give a lot of that to Robin Pemberton. You know, coming over and taking a lot of the day-to-day stuff off, and a lot of the aggravation of trying to look after the Sprint car and the Georgia Pacific car and the Cheerios car and everything that goes on there. Robin has done a phenomenal job for us, and you know, he's always been a great friend. He just becomes a bigger friend every day, and that's been good for me personally.
Has it allowed you to concentrate or focus more on driving the race car as opposed to running a business?
I like to think so. I think the guys at the shop seem to think so because I don't run into as many people on the racetrack as I used to. So I think they seem to think so. But yeah, I think it has. It's allowed me to go back and be a race car driver, and a lot more of a race car driver. I'm still part of the company, and I still, you know, I'm there day to day and doing stuff. And Robin's a big part of it, and Brian Flynn and Jerry Freese and Scott Bowen and that whole group that pretty much manages everything. But I still get to get in a race car and have fun, and that's a big part.
Good for you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, man.
You know, looking at Kyle, talking about Adam, And when things are going bad, you don't want to think about any other bad things. But when you're having things go right, it gives you a chance to relieve some of that hurt and that feeling. And you can talk about something like losing his son, Adam Petty. And I think that shows that there's a healing going on there. And this good runs and the good times they're having right now is helping all that.
I will never forget how proud Kyle was the day he came here to announce that Adam was going to run that Winston Cup race here at Texas. I've never seen a prouder father than that. It was pretty neat.
I don't know how he goes on, but he does, and I'm proud of him.
Bud Pole qualifying continues after this. Great weekend of racing here on the Fox Family Networks continues tomorrow with Winston Cup practice on FX, then the NASCAR Busch Race on Fox, and on Sunday, NASCAR this morning on the net. Get your motor running, and we'll have the Samsung RadioShack 500 on Fox. NASCAR Victory Lane wraps it all up and brings it home for you Sunday night right here on Fox Sports Net.
And if you want to tune in tonight to the Speed Channel, we're gonna unveil some of NASCAR's best kept secrets. Things that people never have, things that Larry and I know, and Jeff, and nobody else knows.
And evidently, I don't know what we're unveiling, so it's a real secret, I guess.
Okay.
We do have some good guests on there tonight.
We have some good guests. It'll be fun.
Probably spill another one of these before we're done here.
Pants leg just dried out.
From the last one.
Poor Larry.
Little break here in qualifying. You did see them remove the trunk lid from the fence.
Yeah.
From Frank Kimmel's car. Had a decent first lap, 30th fastest. And Darrell, what causes those cars to rotate like that and up into the fence?
Well, it's a balancing act. You know, we talk about balance all the time. And what you want enough rear blade on that thing to keep the car comfortable getting in the corner, but you want to pull it down out of the air going down the straightaway as much as you can. You do that with shocks, and I think what happens sometimes, cars pushing so bad off the corner that you want to loosen it up a little bit to qualify. Get it too loose, you back it in the fence.
But I want you to look at something. This is rear downforce right here. And this is front downforce. Show sideways. Let me show you rear and front down. Rear downforce, front downforce.
I'll get you for this.
And this is the center of pressure right here.
That's right. Look, I'm well balanced. That's all I can tell you. I got a chip on both shoulders.
I have a feeling tonight on Speed Channel,
I've been aiming to use that line on somebody.
You're going to get it.
I've been aiming to use that line on somebody who was talking about balance all the time. You know, is talking about being well balanced. Got a chip on both shoulders. I just couldn't figure out how to use it. I just used it on myself.
That'll sound good on Sunday.
It will.
But you know, serious, talk about balance right now. We still got a few cars to go. We have one of each make in the top 6. We talked just a little bit about it. Rule change this week for the Chevrolets. They didn't let them pull the front valence out anymore. They just let them lengthen the front of the car another 1.25 inches. I don't think it necessarily shows up on qualifying day where the front end's all taped up. The hopes are it will give them more front downforce in the race, especially when they get in traffic.
Which all these cars complain about. You know, I hate to hear that dreaded arrow push. That's all. Some racetracks you go to, that's all you hear. You're going to hear it a lot here Sunday.
The Wood brothers right now have the pole with Elliott Sadler, and the list of drivers who have won poles for them is impressive. Marvin Panch, Dan Gurney, Cale Yarborough, A.J. Foyt, David Pearson, Neil Bonnet, Buddy Baker, Donnie Allison, Glenn Wood, and Junior Johnson. Boy, that would be select company if Elliott Sadler could join that list today.
Yes, well, I can remember in the 70s when I came into this sport, that 21 car with the silver fox behind the wheel, it was on the pole every week. I think he won like 9 poles in a row at Charlotte. He would sandbag around, and you never knew what Pearson could run. Even the crew never knew. No. But when it come time to set on the pole, he was the man. One year he set on like 14 poles, and they only ran like 18 races that year. So that car knows how to go fast.
So Elliott Sadler,
Leonard, you got the best idling car in the garage.
And Frank Kimmel, after running 30th on his first lap in Travis Carter's Ford, finds the fence in turn 1. There are 3 cars left to qualify. We'll be right back. The pace car is taking a couple of tours around the track, and the jet dryer and cleanup crew, just to make sure there's nothing down there in turn 1. That's Bill Elliott riding in the pace car. It is common when there's an accident in qualifying, when cleanup is nearly complete, to take the next driver who will qualify out there to have a look at the scene. And look at Frank Kimmel's car. There you can see the fuel hose where it came separated from the cell.
The fuel cell's right under that port sign. That's how far up under there it went.
What a hit. Steve?
Thanks, Mike. And Frank was looking at the same footage we were. Frank, are you okay? You just came out of the care center.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank goodness Travis and the guys put together a really good race car and just made a mistake. Got in a little too high, I think, and trying really hard. Thought we had a great race car in practice. Thought we could back that up and get a good top 20, 25 minute start. But daggone, just got away from me.
He was in the top 25, 23rd in practice, and his lap was good for 30th. So now here's Elliott after having a look at turn 1, climbing aboard the Ray Evernham Dodge.
And Darrell, you were telling me earlier, this is not the first time that Frank Kimmel has actually been in Travis Carter's 26 car. He did a little subbing, didn't he?
Yeah, when Jimmy Spencer got hurt at Indy, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they put Frank in the car a couple of races, and he relief drove for Jimmy when he was injured. And as a matter of fact, it's a great racing family. Bill Kimmel, Frank's dad, I raced with him in the ARCA series in the Midwest all through the late 60s, early 70s. Great ARCA driver. Ran at Daytona and a lot of other places. His brother is his crew chief on the ARCA car. And they dominate ARCA racing. I mean, they got that figured out.
Elliott Sadler has to wait a while longer to see if Bill Elliott, who is 11th in practice, can have a shot here to knock him off. Ward Burton is left to run, and Bobby Hamilton.
Well, if going late means anything, if the track's changed, if it's gotten faster, gotten cooler, then Bill Elliott, who is, you know, could certainly surprise us with a great lap. He's been on the pole this year already. And Ward Burton, not jumping over Bobby Hamilton, but those two cars are fast.
Darrell, when there's been an accident and there's been debris, how do you take that out of your mind when you're the next driver to qualify?
Well, the thing about it is you've been out on the racetrack. There was really no fluids. They didn't have to put down any stay dry. So that in a driver's mind, as long as he doesn't see that stay dry, when you see that stay dry and you see that dust fly up, it just takes your breath away, and it takes away your confidence. Qualifying is all about confidence. It's all about knowing that car's there for you. You're going to drive it in the corner harder than you've driven it all day. You're going to jump back in that throttle wide open. So it's all about confidence, and it hurts your confidence when you see somebody wreck right before you got to go out.
Something we didn't really comment on either, when Frank Kimmel actually completed his first lap, that bumped Ron Hornaday out of the top 36. That's probably, with where that car is, the 57 car in owner points, he's probably going to be the car that's going to have to go home out of these 44 cars.
Yeah, because the next three above him, Jerry Nadeau, who's now on the hot seat, Dave Blaney, and Ryan Newman, all have more points than that 57 car. And likewise, the three drivers left to qualify. So Ron Hornaday, the 57 team, will be the team that's loading up and heading home. We'll be right back. Bill Elliott on the speedway. One top 10 start here. This is a good looking lap.
Really look good.
He's going to have another one. The car is fast. Track conditions are perfect right now, Larry. I mean, the sun's gone down. It's down. You saw a little bit of spark. That's just the headers hitting the ground. And you know that hurts a thing.
These guys may have got a break here because the track temperature has cooled down. The track temperature's down to 84 degrees.
Boy, he's down.
197 miles an hour at the end of the backstretch.
Fastest we've seen all day. He's down in there. This thing looks like it's flying to me.
Trying to knock Elliott Sadler off the pole.
Hey!
Did it!
Yes, 27.80. That's a tenth and a half quicker than Elliott Sadler. 194.224.
Didn't miss. I told the guys at the track, these guys qualified 195 miles an hour. I ain't going to miss a 2-4. 197 miles.
That is more than a mile an hour faster than Sadler as Bobby Hamilton comes on the speedway. For his first lap, 28.745 for Hamilton on his first pass.
That's 43rd out of 43 cars.
Boy,
and he was 44th quickest in practice. They're really struggling here all day long with this 55 car.
Second lap quicker, moves him up to 36, then bumps Dave Blaney out of the 36 spots that will be set by time. Matt?
Well, Elliott Sadler was patiently waiting for Bill Elliott to go, and your worst fears came true, Elliott.
Yeah, I feel like I just got punched in the gut right there. But that's tough. I mean, I'm still happy with the way we qualified. I mean, we're going to either be second or third, but with the cooler temperatures like this, I told him, I said, I'd rather be going right now than when I went. But it's just tough, but we'll get us a pole one day, but just Motorcraft Quality Parts, the U.S. Air Force have really been behind this race team a ton this year, and we want to get those guys a good front row start.
Well, it's not going to be a pole. Last time Wood Brothers won a pole, Elliott was 9 years old as the last qualifier is on the track, and that's Ward Burton.
And you do feel like that because if things had gone according to plan, qualifying had been over about an hour ago, and Bill might not have been able to run that lap.
Well, Ward Burton, a lot like his teammate Hut Strickland, struggling in practice, was only 40th quickest at a 28.51, so he'll have to pick up 7/10 of a second to even get in Bill Elliott's lead.
Elliott has broken the previous track record by 2 miles an hour.
3/10 of a second. A lot.
Burton 30th on his first lap. Another identical to his teammate, Hut Strickland, right to the bow.
They was right together in practice. It was just at the wrong end of the practice sheet. Of course, Ward would start in front of Hut since the 22 car is in front of the 23 car as far as owner points.
Car just looks tight. It looks like got the steering wheel turned hard left, kind of plowing the front tires just a little bit. That knocks a lot of speed out of it.
He picks up.
Good lap, 22nd compared to his first lap. 28.190. And there is the man who's just won his 53rd career pole. Steve?
And second of this year, Bill, Mike Joy just pointed out, not only did you take the pole, you broke the track record by over 2 miles an hour.
I'll tell you what, the racetrack's good. I mean, everything played in our favor. That got cool. I hated to see Frank crash going into turn 1. I was really worried about what that would do to the racetrack. Well, I drove that thing off down in turn 3, and I said, this thing's going to be pretty good. And I got through 1 and 2 really good, and the thing just stayed hooked up on the bottom through 3 and 4. And, I mean, that's what it's going to be here Sunday. I mean, you got to be on the bottom, you got to be hooked up, and that's going to be a different deal. But I'm tickled to death for these guys. They really work hard.
Bill, we saw you out in the pace car checking out the track. Any apprehension getting in the race car after Frank's accident?
There always is. I mean, you never know what the track's going to be. And, to sail these things off down in the corner, and I know Darrell knows what I'm talking about, like you have to do, especially to qualify and as fast as you run here. I mean, a lot of things happen in a hurry. But like I said, I sailed it off down in 3 and 4, and I said, this thing feels real good. And I was able to get through there real well. And I got through 1 and 2 real good, and the rest is history.
Best of luck Sunday, Bill.
Thank you, guys.
12 drivers broke the previous track record, same as yesterday in Busch qualifying.
Now, what Bill's talking about, when he said he sailed it off into 3 and 4, he's talking about coming to get the green. He took out of the pits here, and he looked at the track as he went out. That's where Kimmel wrecked. It seemed okay to him. He knew when he went into turn 3, and on that warm-up lap, that thing hooked up for him. It had that feel, that driver feel. She gripped. He knew he was going to be good, and he stood on it.
Bob Wildberger with Dodge calling the results in, no doubt, to Detroit. There with car owner Ray Evernham.
And definitely Texas has not been good to Bill Elliott. He's never had a top 10 finish here. He's never even led a lap in 5 races here at Texas.
I mean, I'd run like an 06 in practice, a 28.06, and we got down in the 27.
Let's go to Matt with the owner of the car that's on the pole.
Well, Ray, congratulations. You guys saved your best to last.
Oh, thanks. The guys did a great job. Hats off to Mike Ford and to Derek and Kenny, everybody, all the guys, they work real good together. 9 and 19. 19 went out a little bit early. 9 got a good draw, and, veteran in the seat there, he pushed the pedal. So great job. Hats off to all those guys. And, I hope we can get that thing in victory lane Sunday for the Dodge dealers.
Now, a great drive by Bill Elliott, but the temperature dropped about 6 degrees on the track. How much did that help Bill?
Don't really know, but, it certainly doesn't hurt, and it's no different than going to Vegas, when it doesn't matter how much you win when that 21 comes up.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's just formed a new team. It's going to carry number 91. His 74-year-old father is listed as the car owner. The crew chief is age 70, and the driver is Dick Trickle.
And he's 60.
How about that?
Yes, he is. Ray's got both cars in the top 10. There's Jeremy's in the 7th position, so that's a good job for Evernham Motors.
And they'll race that car at Talladega with Dick Trickle.
So here's how they'll start. Elliott's Dodge and Sadler's Ford on the front row. The Yates teammates, nose to tail, Rudd and Jarrett. Michael Waltrip Chevy. Stacy Compton's Pontiac. Well, there's your parity, Larry. There's 4 making the top 5.
I can't tell. That's an impressive run by Stacy Compton.
Yes,
That
it is.
Really good for the Pontiac team and for that team.
The top 6, that is. And looking a little further back, what a great run for Shauna Robinson. That certainly was, that was a bit unexpected.
It really was.
Watch that 40 car, though, outside of row 10. It's the car's undefeated. He won Vegas. He won Darlington with this car.
It's the first top 20 start here for Sterling. 20th. And a look back through to 30th position.
Texas Terry and Rusty back there.
Of course, Robbie Gordon and Frank Kimmel in the 31 and 26. They will have to go to the rear of the field.
Probably the biggest surprise to me is that right there. I'm just going to say Ryan Newman.
And then provisional land from the line on down. Burton Nadeau, Blaney Hamilton, Skinner, Buckshot Jones, and Brett Bodine. And it's Ron Hornaday and the 57 team that make the ride home. Matt?
Well, Mike, the Wood brothers missed picking up their 117th career pole. And Elliott Sadler, though, did score his best career start for Sunday. This team continues to gain momentum. Their biggest deficit, they felt like, was qualifying, and they seem to have fixed that to Steve Burns.
Matt, Stacy Compton came here 39th in points, driving A.J. Foyt's Pontiacs. He'd never qualified better than 14th here. Sunday, he'll start inside the top 10. Stacy Compton goes off 6th.
And a lot to come on the Fox networks, continuing tomorrow on FX with Winston Cup practice. Then the Busch Series race presented by Old Spice on Fox. Sunday, NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice here on the net. The Samsung RadioShack 500 Winston Cup race will be on Fox, and then NASCAR Victory Lane Sunday night on Fox Sports Net. The Fox networks, your home for NASCAR. Bill Elliott is the fastest man in Fort Worth. He'll be on the pole for Sunday's Samsung RadioShack 500.